is Chris, and welcome back to the NASCAR iRacing 2002 career season for today's Biff 500 here today at the Pocono Raceway. This race is going to be a memorial / tribute race to the late great Biffle, and this race should be a lot of fun because this is also the first race on the schedule this season where we will only have 3 turns. So this will definitely be interesting for all these drivers here, as we're going to take a look at the point standings, which sees Zachary Smithley, who has won back the last 2 races, extend his point lead ahead of Ricky Rudd, who sits second now, ahead of Ryan Newman in third, Jeff Gordon fourth, Matt Kenseth fifth, Jimmy Johnson in sixth, Bill Elliott in seventh, Jeff Green eighth, Kurt Busch in ninth, and Jeff Burton rounds out the top 10 in the point standings. So maybe we'll see if positions will change today, and we're going to see who can tackle the tricky triangle and who can tame the tricky triangle today. And the only way to find out is by going to the starting lineup for the start of today's race. So here we are on the starting grid, and let's go ahead and run through who we got going on for the starting lineup. As we have in run number 1, DJ, good old Dale Jarrett, wins the pole for today's race, and to his outside, it is Rusty Wallace. In row number 2, you will find Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt Jr. Row 3, it is Robbie Gordon with his best qualifying result of the season thus far, and Jimmy Johnson to his outside. Row 4 is the rookie driver of Jamie McMurray in the number 42, and to his outside, the third Hendrick car in Terry Labonte. Row 5, you will find the RCR teammates of Jeff Green and Kevin Harvick. Row 6, Mike Skinner with his best career start, or not best career start, but his best start of the season, I should say. And to his outside is Warren Burton with his best start of the season. Row 7, you will find Mark Martin and Larry Foyt, who also has the best start of the season here today. Row 8, it is Jeremy Mayfield and Ken Schrader. Row 9, it is Bill Elliott, and second in the point standings, Ricky Rudd. Row 10, it is Ryan Newman, who sits third currently in the point standings, and to his outside, Kurt Busch, who was the fastest in practice. Row 11 today will be Tom O'Dine, and Michael Waltrip has had not so good runs the past 2 races, but maybe today will be a bounce back for him. Row 12, it is the return of the Net Zero Pontiac with Jason Keller behind the wheel once again, and to his outside is John Andretti. Row 13, you will find Jerry Nadeau and Kyle Petty. Row 14 will be Joe Nemechek and Jimmy Spencer. Row 15 today, it is Tony Raines and Elliott Sadler. Row 16, Casey Mears and Sterling Marlin, the Chip Ganassi teammates. And then row 17, you'll find the Joe Gibbs teammates of Bobby Labonte and Tony Stewart. Row 18, it is Steve Park and the rookie Gray Biffle. Row 19, it is Johnny Benson and Matt Kenseth. Row 20, it is Ricky Craven and Dave Blaney. Row 21, you will find Jeff Byrne and Kenny Wallace. And round out the field in row 22 is the current Winston Cup points leader, Zachary Smithley, who did not have a good qualifying session, but depending on if he's got a fast car today, he could make his way through the field. But we're going to have to wait and see as we progress through this race. Then we have the 3 DNQs for the race, which is Brett Bodine in the number 11, Derek Cope in the 37, and Kirk Shelmerdine in the 72. And then we have a little bit of track information. So the pit window will be around lap 17 to 25. It's a little bit odd, but this is the main reason why. The tires are going to be the name of the game and probably the main issue for a lot of the drivers, as they can only last until lap 17 to lap 19, but if you can get them to last longer, you can even make it to the fuel window, I should say, which is around lap 22 to lap 25, and that'll pretty much get you all the way to the end of the race if you pit by that point. However, with the tires being a problem and maybe screwing over some people's races, depending on how bad it might get for some drivers, will there possibly be 2 pit stops today, or will one driver try to maybe one stop it and try to win the race that way? Who knows? And once again, strategy has been the name of the game a lot this season. You've seen strategy be played a lot through the past few races so far this season. And maybe today will be another one of those races where strategy just might in fact come into play. And then a question we've been asking pretty much since the first race of the season, or the second race rather of the season, will we have a new winner, or will we have a new multi-time winner? As so far there are only still 3 drivers that have more than 1 win thus far this season. And those 3 drivers are Zachary Smithley, who won at Rockingham, Martinsville, the Coca-Cola 600, and last time out at Dover. Ryan Newman back at the Daytona 500 and all the way back at Vegas. Jeff Burton, who won Darlington and all the way back in California. Bill Elliott with his win at Atlanta. Jimmy Johnson with his win at Bristol. Jamie McMurray with his win at Texas. Greg Biffle with the win at Talladega. And Jeff Gordon, who won at Richmond a few races ago. So will one of these drivers, will one of the 5 drivers that have 1 win get a 2nd win this season? Will maybe Zach, Newman, or Burton add another win to their season? Or will we have an 9th different winner of the 2003 season? Because so far, out of the 8 different winners that we've had this season, 3 out of the 8 are rookies. So will we have a veteran add their name to the list of winners so far? Or will we have another rookie add their name to the list of winners? Or maybe we'll have a new multi-time winner. It's one of those questions that we ask every single race, and we don't really know what'll happen through the race. And in all honesty, we don't really know how it all will play out for a lot of drivers. So here today at good old Pocono, the Tricky Triangle is going to be the best way to figure out which driver is better and who can also have their cars set up in the best way possible to even go out there and win today's race. But again, got to remember the fuel and the tires, mainly the tires, because like we said before, if you don't get those tires to last until possibly the halfway point where the end of the fuel window will happen, which is around lap 25, you might not have a chance to win. But maybe the 2 stops might help you out in the long run. Who knows? But before we jump into this race, let's go ahead and send it up to our good old buddies of Mike Joy, Larry Mack, and DW to go ahead and lead to the green flag here today at the Tricky Triangle. To you, boys.
As Chris started the show, a bunch of shifty characters getting set to be turned loose at Pocono. I don't mean the pilots of those A10s. Daryl, Boggity.
Well, it's the mud.
All right.
It's been a little muddy out here this week. I think that's what you're trying to say.
DW, reach up and pull them belts tight. Second time in turn 1, 200 miles an hour.
Stand on that gas. Boy, boogity, boogity, boogity.
Lap at the Biff 500 here, and he got a really amazing launch to get out ahead of Rusty Wallace, who sits second behind him. But Rusty, he got a bit of a run down the front straightaway, and he actually kind of closed the gap a little bit on DJ, almost leaving Dylan Hart Jr. and Jeff Gore behind. We're going ahead and get a nice little flyby of the cars. Beautiful sights and sounds here at Pocono. You gotta love it up here in the mountains. As we look further back, as you see the points leader, Zachary Smithley, making his way through the field. He's already made his way quite a bit up through the field. He's passed what looks to be about 10 cars already. And he's going to try to go after John Andretti. So right now he's going to go for 32nd. And he's going to continue to make his way through the field as we continue to look back. You see Biffle, Kenny Walls, and Steve Parker 3 wide. Tony Stewart had an amazing run last time out at Dover, is all the way in the back, and he is struggling along with Matt Kensington at 17. You see Zachary going out on Jimmy Spencer's. We look a little bit further up through the field. See Robbie Gordon up there in P5 with a really good run. And Rusty, he is getting a little bit closer to Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's going to have to watch out because we don't quite know the pace of that Miller Lite Dodge, but maybe as the race progresses, we'll see what Rusty may got for Dale Jarrett. Rusty has come so close to so many wins so far this season, and today might be the day. But let's give a round of applause for Robbie Gordon and the entire Pennzoil Chevy team for getting their car to not only qualify in the top 5, but also stay there on the opening lap. You see Jeff Green in the 30, wow, making a move on to Larry Foy in the 14. Larry Foy's got a good qualifying position. He has a good run so far going for him. They almost made a little bit of contact, but it's all good, all said and done right there. A little bit further back, you see Waltrip trying to have a bounce back after the previous 2 races that he's had. It all started back at the Coca-Cola 600 where he turned Johnson off the start. See Marlin behind him, Bobby Labonte. Walter goes all the way up the track. Rajini told that Zachary and Sterling Marlin made a little bit of contact in the tunnel, or in turn 2 rather, on the opening lap. Doesn't look like it caused too much damage to the 80 car, but you never know as the race progresses. See Zachary dives it into turn 2. Man, he does a really good job throughout turn 2. Look at the run he gets. All weekend long, he's been able to dive it into turn 2 and get a really good run. As you see him make another move on Warburton. He got both the Chip Ganassi cars, got Bobby Labonte, and he'll get Casey Mears. And now, as he now sets his sights on Kevin Harvick and Joe Nemechek ahead. You see some fast cars in this pack right here with Ryan Newman and Bill Elliott. And just behind both of those cars, it is Kurt Busch in the 97, who, like we said at the top of the show, was the fastest in practice. But he hasn't really been able to show for it as much. But maybe Kurt can maybe make his way through the field. Kurt's still looking for his first win of the season, and that 97 Sharpie's Ford, it can get there. They could definitely get there. There's a lot of cars back here that haven't won a race that could definitely win a race at some point this season. We just don't know when. Problem is, running that high line in turn 2 is not good. You see Zachary in the 80 making another, just getting closer to the back of these cars, specifically to the back of Kevin Harvick. He gets Joe Nemechek. He's going to try to make it 3 wide. Nadu backs out of it. Doesn't look like Zach got up the track. He didn't get up the track too much. Him and Harvick didn't make any contact. Got to be very, very wary of the 29. Don't want to make any contact with him. But he did get Nadu and Nemechek, and he's going to try to go after Kevin Harvick. This car has almost reached 190 miles per hour going down the front straightaway and into turn 1. A little further ahead there, you see Newman and Ricky Rudd, second and third points. A little bit ahead of them is Johnson. Mike Skinner having a good run in the 4. McMurray, Larry Foyt, Ken Schrader. Got Mark Martin and Jeff Green battling it out. Ken Schrader's actually going to join this frame. He's going to try to maybe take a position or 2. See Steve Park. Or not Steve Park, excuse me. That's Robbie Gordon. Steve Park was all the way back in the pack. But Robbie Gordon, the 1, actually passed Jeff Gordon. And Jeff Green, the other Jeff, passes the 6 of Mark Martin. But here comes Ken Schrader, going to take advantage of it, because it seems like Jeff Green may have actually slowed himself up trying to pass Mark Martin in turn 3 as they head down the front straightaway. Schrader's going to be on the outside, but can Jeff Green maybe hold it on the bottom and hold that position? Looks like he will. Mark Martin's going to try to get Ken Schrader back. As we look a little bit further ahead, there you see Jeff Gordon just behind Robbie Gordon. Got it right this time. And you got Terry Labonte, the 5 is actually trailing the both of them. Terry's had a bit of a season so far, but he's got some races where he's done pretty well. Robbie Gordon, on the other hand, as we ride on board with Jeff Gordon, looking to the inside of Robbie. He sits forward, can Gordon try to make a move, keeps Robbie up to the outside, and he gets him in turn 3. And then push Robbie up the track, and guess who's joining the frame? It is Terry Labonte in the 5. But Robbie Gordon is having a really good run so far. Running top 5 in a DEI car. He struggled earlier in the year with the number 31 RCR Chevy that he was driving. And after Richmond, where he and Steve Park swapped rides, it seems like it's working out for Robbie Gordon. As even though he might be under pressure from Terry Labonte behind, which it doesn't look like he is, going to maintain that 5th position, as his teammate Junior, as a matter of fact, sits 3rd, right behind these 2, Dale Jarrett and Rusty Walls. Dale Jarrett still having a really good race, a really good run. It hasn't been the best of seasons so far for Dale Jarrett. He's had flashes of good runs, can tell you that much. But DJ really hasn't been there. Maybe today he's showing us that he can be there, and that the first quarter of the season was just a little mess up. That's all it was. But also the same can also be said for Rusty Wallace and the 2 behind him, and also for Dale Earnhardt Jr. and the 8, who's just behind these 2. Dale Jr. also hasn't had the best first part of the season, but he has been better than Rusty's and DJ's. Gordon with a win. He's definitely had a really good season thus far. As we look further to the back, there you see point leader Zachary making a move on top of 9. He's actually gotten around Bill Elliott and Kurt Busch. Yeah, enter turn 1. Zachary arcs it into turn 1 ever so gently and ever so nicely. And he actually got Taco Dines, actually going to keep the spot. There's a lot of drivers behind him trying to make positions up and maybe even catch that 80 of Zachary. Zachary is now the man to catch, not only in the points, the man you want to beat every single race. As the guy with back-to-back wins so far on the season, the only driver to do so. He's going to try to make it 3 in a row today. As he enters turn 3, he's going to get to the inside of Kyle Petty. And there you see that's his next competition. And his nearest competition to the championship, Ricky Rudd to his outside. He passed Kyle Petty like he was standing still. Now he's going to try to go after Ricky Rudd. He can't quite get him, but he'll slot in right behind the 21. Got to be wary, though, because Kyle Petty may have a run. There he goes. But Zachary's going to stay patient. That's the main thing. Whoa! I mean, he did stay patient for a little bit, but then he cut down right in front of Kyle Petty. Holy cow. I mean, that stopped the run that Petty had, but I don't know if that may have been the right decision. Oh, my Lord. Whew. All right, after Zachary almost just gave us yet another heart attack. It's good. Going down the back straightaway into turn 2, and there you can see Zachary just passes Ricky Rudd. Zachary, I think, turn 2 is his best friend. It's going to be his best friend all day long. But now, since Zachary has passed, who essentially is the second place driver, or who the driver second in points is, he could pretty much just cruise up to maybe Ryan Newman, who's now sits third in the championship. And if everything stays the same, Ryan Newman could possibly pass Ricky Rudd for second on the point standings, and he'll gain a little bit on Zach, but not much. Right on board with Zach as he enters 1. He's the two rookies ahead of him with Jason Keller and Jay McMurray. Is right behind him, the battle going on, so that might help Zachary pull away a little bit from the guys behind. Well, Bill Elliott, actually, as a matter of fact, just straight up past Kyle Petty and Kurt Busch. And Zach can just arc it down into turn 2 ever so gently. So look further ahead, the battle between Keller and McMurray. Seems like it might go to Keller, and it does. Jason Keller gets right to the inside of Jay McMurray, past him in turn 3. So that actually a little bit further back. Kurt Busch actually got Bill Elliott a little bit. You look a little bit further ahead, Larry Foyt's he's having a really good run. Hasn't been the greatest season so far for the rookie in the number 14, but he's got a good run going as he sits inside the top 10. Same for Robbie Gorin in the 1, who sits behind Jeff Gorin, who's 4th, and Dale Jr. in 3rd. Further ahead to Rusty Wallace and Dale Jarrett in the 88. Jarrett's still maintaining a pretty good gap. This gap has pretty much stayed the same between Dale Jarrett and Rusty Wallace for quite a while. It's mainly just because Dale Jarrett is able to capitalize on a lot of the a lot of the mistakes that Rusty can't seem to get quite down quite yet. And that's what's allowing Dale Jarrett to kind of eke out even more ahead of Rusty, but also Rusty's trying to capitalize on any of the mistakes that DJ makes, and especially coming off of turn 3, because that's where Rusty mainly gets back a lot of his time. But right now, Dale Jarrett, he's doing pretty good. He's led since lap 1 on lap 13. We forgot to mention this at the top of the hour, but on lap 16, we will have a 1-lap silent tribute to the late Greg Biffle. Even though he's in this race today, you kind of have to break the fourth wall a little bit here and say that back on Thursday, unfortunately, we had lost Greg Biffle. And it wasn't just Greg that we ended up losing. We lost his wife, Christina, his son, Ryder, and his daughter, Emma. And the others involved in that plane crash were Dennis Dutton and Jack Dutton and Craig Wadsworth. And it was a very, very sad tragedy. Still is a very sad tragedy. And on lap 16, we will have a 1-lap tribute to all those involved in the plane crash. Like I said, even though Biffle's in this race, breaking the fourth wall and just letting y'all know that sometimes reality has to set in, and sometimes the real world might come into a lot of the stuff that we do around here. But not thinking about that quite yet, because we got 2 laps and Robbie Gorin and Terry Labonte are going at it. Kind of missed out on Terry going at it for the lead, or not for the lead, but going at it for 5th place on Robbie Gorin. Robbie actually had a little bit of a problem down the front straightaway, which allowed Terry to get to his outside, but Robbie did get a better run than he did to get the 5th position back. As we look further ahead, Rusty's actually closing the gap on Dale Jarrett. We had to lap 15 of this race. Pit stops are going to be ensuing sometime soon, as we actually see one of the drivers actually leaving pit road. That's Casey Mears. We see a couple drivers towards the back of the pack who are actually coming onto pit road. It's like we said, those tires, if you don't manage them quite well, you might not be able to make it to the fuel window. So if what we're seeing is correct, then there's a possibility that these drivers are going to have to make 2 pit stops today. As Rusty Wallace has, in fact, closed that gap on Dale Jarrett. Jarrett's tires might actually be getting to him. This might actually be perfect as we come to lap 16, because the battle's going to ensue between Rusty and DJ. As Rusty's going to look to the inside of Dale Jarrett in turn 3. He's going to grab the lead, but Dale Jarrett might come back at him. See if he can get that run onto that high side, and it looks like he will. And now it is time for a 1-lap tribute to Great Biffle. Even though we weren't able to really talk about the battle between Rusty Wallace and DJ, Rusty did grab it, but they're both coming on pit road, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. will grab the lead away. And that was essentially the 1-lap tribute to Great Biffle. Great Biffle, we miss you and we love you, and we'll definitely see you on the other side. But right now, up front, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he's going to go a little bit longer, it seems like. It seems like he saved up enough tire than Rusty and Dale Jarrett did. That's also going to be something that Dale Jr. is going to have to react to now, because his teammate Robbie Gordon has actually pitted as well. Got Jeff Gordon and Terry Labonte back behind him. They're going to have to be aware of whatever Dale Earnhardt Jr. does. And if Jr. does come into pit, well, that might be big, because maybe Gordon and Terry might pit with Dale. I think that might be what they're waiting for. They might be waiting for Dale to pit so that they can pit with him. As they round turn 3, Dale Earnhardt Jr. with Jeff Gordon behind him. These are the first few laps. I think we're going to see Dale Jr. lead in a while, since probably Bristol earlier this year. That Bud 8 car is strong. Nobody pits that time. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Mike Skinner were back there. They also didn't pit. Zachary and Bill Elliott also did not pit, and I think Jason Keller in the 0 didn't pit either. Ray may have pit, I could be wrong. See some of the cars coming off of turn number 1. We can only see Mark Martin, unfortunately, but pretty sure Jason Keller might be another one of them that did not pit. But we'll see in the coming laps who might be coming into pit. As it seems like Dale Jr. is going to stand out the window, and he's going to come down the track a little bit. That's the indication he's going to come down pit road. So Dale Jr., as he rounds turn 3, he's going to slow the car down, and there he goes. Yep, Jeff Gordon follows him in. I think Terry Labonte will also follow him in. And as Dale Jr. is making his way down the pit lane, yep, Terry Labonte comes in. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Mike Skinner. There's Jason Keller, Bill Elliott, and now Zachary Smithley stays out, but he will be the new race leader. Zachary Smithley out front. He is going to try and do the one-stop strategy. He's going to try to do it on just one pit stop. Which means, because Zachary thinks he's savored up enough tire to make it to that point, he just needs to make the rest of the way on his fuel. He'll definitely be a little bit slower, but he is around 11 seconds ahead of Rusty Wallace in the 2. As Zachary's going to get some 5 bonus points for leading a lap. That'll be good for Zach, because he kind of gets a little bit tight in turn 2. Not too bad for Zachary at all. Seems like it was all pretty good for him. As Zach comes through turn number 3. The man that started in last place in today's race is going to stay out for a lot longer. Is going to lead a lap here at Pocono. There's going to be 31 laps to go. And everybody around him is going to have to make one more pit stop. And Zachary does have to make a pit stop. But you see in the back, just behind the leader column, that we actually saw Rusty Wallace coming off of turn number 3. So they are about a straightaway. Zachary is about a straightaway ahead of Rusty Wallace. You don't see Rusty quite yet on that camera angle, but Rusty is quite a bit farther back. See Zachary entering turn 2. Does it nice, and he does a better job that time, but he does kind of have to lift out of the throttle just to prevent himself from hitting the wall. Zachary, who is trying to push a little bit, he's not trying to push too hard, because he knows he doesn't want to burn up his tires a lot more, and he knows he doesn't want to make another stop towards the end of the race, because that would suck. As now we're going to enter 30 laps to go here at Pocono. We're gonna get a shot of the front straightaway here in a second to see where Rusty is. There's Rusty coming off of turn 3, and Zachary's entering turn 1, as a matter of fact. So they're still about a straightaway away from each other, but Rusty is gaining time on Zach, as Zach is going longer. This will be detrimental to Zach later on in the race, because this might actually put him last place because of the difference in speed from not only Zach to Rusty, who's second, but also to all the other drivers, because they're also on fresher tires than Zach is. You just saw Zachary entering the tunnel turn as Rusty was coming off of turn 1. And we had a feeling that Robbie Gordon would jump Dale Earnhardt Jr. As a matter of fact, Jeff Green and Larry Foy jumped Jeff Gordon. Ken Schrader jumped Terry Labonte, as he's got Ryan Newman battling him. Jimmy Johnson got jumped by Jim McMurray and Mark Martin. Then there's Kyle Petty in the 45. Kurt Busch, Mike Skinner, Craven and Keller, Tom Bodine, Bobby Labonte, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, Sterling Marlin, and Tony Raines, Elliott Sadler, Jeff Burton, Joe Nemechek, Jerry Nadeau, Casey Mears, Steve Park, Kenny Wallace, Kevin Harvick, Jimmy Spencer, Johnny Benson, Matt Kenseth, John Andretti and Greg Biff are going at it for position, Dave Blaney, Tony Stewart, Warburton, Michael Waltrip, and Jeremy Mayfield. And so far, Zachary is the only driver that hasn't picked, but everybody from Rusty Wallace all the way down to Jeremy Mayfield have pitted. And once again, for Michael Waltrip, he sits 42nd. Once Zachary pits, he might be ahead of him, but he might not be, but we'll see. But Zachary if he doesn't come out ahead of Mikey, well, Zachary might be last, depending on how slow he might be towards the end of this run. But that also isn't good for Michael Waltrip, because his teammates right now, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Robbie Gordon, are sitting 4th and 5th right now, just behind Rusty Wallace in the 2 and Dale Jarrett in the 88. As a matter of fact, Dale Jr. actually back there just past Robbie Gordon, so now Jr. is up to 4th, excuse me. And Rusty is closing the gap on Zachary. As a matter of fact, as Zachary was getting closer to the end of the front straightaway, Rusty was about halfway down, or was pretty much already off of turn 3, but he was halfway to the start-finish line by the time Zachary was entering turn 1. So the difference in tires and the difference in speed between the two drivers is astronomical. Really, the only way for Zachary to kind of mitigate the problem and not have Rusty catch him as fast as maybe pit sometime soon, but that might be a little bit of a ways out until Zachary does end up doing that. It might be in the next coming laps, because we're coming to lap 24. As we take a look at the camera angle down the straightaway, yep, there you see Rusty's close to the start-finish line, and Zachary's actually hit the start-finish line, and Zach was entering turn 1. So they're about half a straightaway away from each other. And the gap that was 11 seconds after Rusty had pitted and Zach has stayed out, well, that gap has gotten down to about 6 or 7 seconds, maybe 7 or 8 seconds. We're on board with Rusty. You see Zach just a dot in front of him as he enters turn 2, as Rusty's halfway down the back straightaway. See Dale Jarrett in 3rd. who was the leader, and is actually going to come out in second by the end of all this. As Zachary, oh, he catches the wall a little bit going into turn 3. He got a little bit close to the wall. Doesn't seem like it's anything too bad, though. He was able to keep her going, keep it steady, keep it straight. And we couldn't quite see Rusty Wallace. He may not be that close to Zachary. Get another shot of the camera angle down the front straightaway. Yeah, Rusty's definitely closed the gap because now they're a little bit past halfway down the front stretch from each other now. It sounds like that Zachary is actually going to end up hitting this time because he's made it to halfway and he can make it to the end of the race on fuel. So Zachary can definitely make it to the end. But the main question is now, because he's lost a lot of time, the question will remain, can he stay ahead of all these other drivers when they come in to make their pit stops? That is going to be the key to the win here today at Pocono. See Zachary rounding 3. Gonna try to get it down the track. There you see him going towards pit road. He's got the first pit stall, which you see Rusty Wallace is coming off turn 3 right now. And as Zachary enters pit road and enters his pit box, there goes Rusty right by, and he grabs the lead back, and we're now halfway through this race. And Rusty Wallace, who's got a pretty good advantage over Dale Jarrett in the 88, he's just got to make one more pit stop, and he could be on his way to his first victory of the season. After going winless in 2002, Rusty might actually be able to go back to victory lane, but he's also got some pretty fast cars behind him, mainly Dale Jr., who is actually slowly catching Dale Jarrett in the 88 a little bit. Not by much, but he's slowly catching him. Rusty will maintain the lead for now. He did lose out on leading a couple laps. But that was also because Zachary was playing the strategy game. As he comes through turn 3. I saw the turn 4 and said turn 4. This is a triangle. Triangle's in 4 corners. As he came through turn 3 down the front straightaway, puts a bigger gap on Dale Jarrett in the 88 now. There you see Dale Jr. closing in, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Green, Jeff Gordon, Larry Foyt, who sits 7th, Terry Labonte in 8th, Ken Schrader in 9th, and Mark Martin in 10th. And that is how the top 10 are running. Really good day for Ken Schrader and Larry Foyt, as Mark Martin's also having a good race. He needs it this season. As he goes right to the inside of Ken Schrader to get 9th. Can he grab it off of him? They almost make a little bit of contact, but off turn 1, Mark Martin grabs 9th from Ken Schrader. Now Ken Schrader's got to watch out because he's got a fast car. Brian Newman, Jay McMurray, and Jimmy Johnson closing in on him. Mike Skinner in that Kodak Pontiac is having a really good race. You got Kurt Busch, Jason Keller, Tabodine going at it on Bill Elliott. Like Bill's going to hold it around the outside, and he will, coming off of turn 2. There's Bobby Labonte, who's trying to have a somewhat good day going for him. You got Craven, Burton, Marlin, Jerry Nadeau, who's ahead of Ricky Rudd, who's not having a good race so far, which might actually lose him quite a bit of points come out of today. Then it was Elliott Sadler, Joe Nemechek, Kenny Wallace, Tony Raines. There's Kevin Harvick with his teammate Steve Park, Casey Mears trying to go at it on Steve Park. Johnny Benson, Matt Kenseth, Greg Biffle right behind his teammate. You see Zachary all the way in the back, but Dave Blaney and Jimmy Spencer going at it. The 7s. Blaney went a little bit high, but Spencer, he was able to keep it on the bottom, but it won't matter because Blaney actually got a good run on the outside. And John Andretti might actually try to push Jimmy Spencer right past him. Doesn't look like it's going to work out quite well as Dave Blaney will hold the position over Jimmy Spencer. And he will, in fact, hold it. As that looks like it was for 36th place. Interesting. And it was Warburton, Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, Jeremy Mayfield, and there he is, Zachary Smithley. But the good news is Zachary's got fresher tires. But the bad news is once these drivers ahead of him pit, they're going to have a lot more fresh tires than he will. But the good news for Zach is he could definitely make it to the end, and he might be able to put some time back on Rusty Wallace if he can. And there's Rusty in turn 2. Tires might be starting to go away on that Miller Lite Dodge, but Might be a little bit until that eventually happens. But right now, he's putting on a pretty good gap over DJ in second. He's actually opened the gap up a lot more to Dale Jarrett. With 21 laps left in the race. It's a long lap around Pocono. We actually saw Dale Jarrett for a second there. We actually heard him entering turn 1. Yeah, Rusty's put quite a bit of a gap on DJ as they enter the back straightaway. Rusty's going so far out ahead, he's actually put the gap to Dale Jr. and Robbie Gorn pretty much. You see Jeff Green and Jeff Gore and the Jets going at it. It's back behind them. Terry Labonte and Larry Foy are going at it. But first, let's focus on Jeff Gorn and Jeff Green. Entering turn 2, Gorn keeps Green a little bit high. And Jeff Gorn will jump right in front of Jeff Green, and he takes the 5th position away. And Jeff Gorn is back inside the top 5. Now he's going to go after Robbie Gorn in that one car who, with 20 laps to go, or with him coming to 20 to go, Robbie Gorn is having a really, really good race. And he's showing off, and he's showing what he's got. He hasn't had many top 5s or top 10s this season compared to his time at RCR and even the little bit of races that he's had with DEI. The main takeaway for Robbie is that he won the All-Star Open to make the All-Star race, even if he didn't make it past the first segment. But he's put on a really good race, and so is Larry Foy. He's actually going at it with Terry Labonte in the 5. Terry's actually holding him up on the outside. But Terry's giving him a lot of room. He ain't making it easy on Larry Foy. Larry Foy did get a good run on the outside to carry that momentum down the back straightaway and into turn 2. And Larry Foy keeps the position. He'll keep the 7th spot over Terry. Jeff Green kind of losing a little bit of time to Gorn ahead. You got Robbie Gorn in Ford Jr.'s 3rd, Dale Jarrett in 2nd, and Rusty Wallace leading the race. There you see the top 6. We look a little bit further back. Zachary's actually passed 4 cars so far. And Tony Stewart, John Andretti, Michael Waltrip, and Jeremy Mayfield. He's got a run on Ward Burton, and Jimmy Spence is going to take a 3 wide. Ward kind of backed out of it a little bit, but there goes Zach. It's another 2 cars that he ended up getting. So from 43rd to now 37th. Zachary has passed 6 cars. He's only going to pass more with those fresher tires. It's going to be a problem for Rusty Wallace in the 2, but him and Dale Jarrett and a lot of these other drivers, they're gonna have to make pit stops sometime soon. So actually on board with Dale Jarrett. There's Rusty ahead. You can barely make out where Rusty is, but he's there. But behind, there you see Dale Jr. Quite a bit of distance behind DJ, but not too far of a distance. You see Dale Jr., as a matter of fact, he is not gaining any more time on Dale Jarrett. He passed Robbie Gorn. He was gaining time on Dale Jarrett, and then kind of just had a little bit of tire wear kick in, and unfortunately, that's kind of what's been detrimental to DJ. As Rusty is kind of might be thinking about pitting, as his team is actually thinking about pitting him sometime soon, because they know they have a car to win this race. But Rusty is maintaining a really good gap and a really good solid pace over Dale Jarrett in the 88. Rusty Wallace started 2nd today. And all he has to do is make one more pit stop, because he can't make it on fuel. That's all he has to do. Just make one more pit stop, grab the lead back, maybe on pit cycle, and he can definitely run away with this win, and he can get his first win of the 2003 season. That's pretty much all he has to do. But will it be easy for him to do it? Because Zachary in the 80 car, he is probably going to grab the lead back because he's not pitting again. And he's still technically making his way up through the field. Did you see Rusty's actually putting a bigger gap on Dale Jarrett as they head down the back straightaway and into turn 2. Rusty's pretty much doing everything right, as Rusty is still not going to come in. It might be in the next couple of laps. He might pit next time by, or maybe on lap 36 with 15 to go. But with how long a lap is around here, Anything can happen. A lot can change. As we have 16 laps to go here at Pocono. Still extending the gap over Dale Jarrett in the 88 car. Look a little bit further back. Zachary's actually passed quite a bit more drivers in Casey Mears, Steve Park, Greg Biffle, Dave Blaney. He's hunting Johnny Benson down. See Greg Biffle actually going right after Casey Mears and passing him. Zachary in the process passing Johnny Benson. Biffle did get Mears and Zach did get Benson. So Zach is definitely going to be a bit of a threat to Rusty Wallace here once pit cycles start going. Even though that might be a lap or two away, that's going to be enough for Zach. Zachary is also trying to be the first rookie to go 3 in a row, trying to win 3 races in a row. Won the Coca-Cola 600 to grab his 3rd career win, run Dover to grab his 4th career win, and he might have the opportunity to win here at Pocono and grab his 5th career win. See ahead of him, Tony Raines going at it on Matt Kenseth as Dale Jarrett takes the lead, and that means, as a matter of fact, that Rusty Wallace has made it down pit road. So Rusty and a boatload of other drivers are making it down pit road. Kenseth and Raines are 3 wide for on board with Zach. As the middle is left open, is Zach going to go for it? He is going to go for it. Zach is one crazy driver, but that don't matter. His craziness works out. And then Tony Raines pits, so maybe it wasn't that crazy, but he still made a 3-wide move. What a move by Zach. See, Rusty Wallace is actually coming out of pit road, and Zach is coming down the front straightaway. So with Rusty coming out of the pits and Zachary now ahead of him, Zachary will mathematically be in the lead. Or technically, I should say, be in the lead as we look further ahead to DJ and Dale Earnhardt Jr. They're making their way down the track. And I think DJ's going to be pitting this time. He is. So Dale Jarrett's on pit road. I think Dale Earnhardt Jr. is going to follow suit behind him onto pit road. The driver's actually leaving the pits. Yep, Dale Jr.'s in. Jeff Green's coming into the pits. See who else coming into the pits. There's Kyle Petty. I don't think there was anybody else in between Kyle Petty or Jeff Green. Nope. Kyle Petty mainly. So Kyle Petty was actually sitting 4th, but Kyle Petty's on pit road. I think Jeff Byrne behind him's coming in. He is. Sterling Marlin actually stays out, but Nadu comes in. Sadler, Nemechek, Harvick, Kenny Wallace are in. Zachary stays out. Sterling Marlin takes the lead of the race, but Marlin's going to have to pit. As a matter of fact, you see the gap between Zachary and Rusty. It's not as big as it was the first time around, but Zachary was a little bit further up the field, and pit stops also didn't affect the running order. See Zach coming off of turn 1, excuse me, and there's Rusty. Rusty is not that far behind Zach. But with fresher tires than Zach does, about 12 laps fresher, Rusty definitely has a shot to catch Zach, and maybe even pass him for the lead. As Marlin's going to head down the track. Entering turn 3. He got his hand out the window to signify that he was coming down pit road. As he comes off of turn number 3, there goes Marlin. And now the race lead will change hands once again, and it'll go right back to the rookie of Zachary Smithley, as he leads coming to 13 laps to go. But this isn't going to be easy for Zach, because look behind him. Rusty is closer than ever. But the main thing that Zachary has on Rusty is he can make it to the end. Zach knows he can make it to the end. His team knows he can make it to the end. We know he can make it to the end. And even his competition knows he can make it to the end. And that right there is the main problem for people like Rusty and Dale Jarrett, and why they need to go catch Zach, or hope that Zach makes enough mistakes for them to catch him faster than ever. As they're about half a straightaway away from each other, Rusty and Zach. Dale Jarrett, if things get pretty, if a tussle gets between these two, of Zachary and Rusty, Dale Jarrett might actually be able to join the frame, as Jarrett isn't too far off Rusty either. And Rusty pitted Dale Jarrett pitted 1 lap later than Rusty did. So a lot can happen. We're just gonna have to find out. Zachary's still running turn 1. Rusty is kind of closing a little bit, but not by much. He is still trying to get heat into those tires. Not too far off. See Dale Jarrett right there. He is actually getting closer to Rusty, but Rusty's getting closer to Zach. Oh, Zach went high in turn 2. Wow. That's going to give Rusty enough time to actually catch Zach. That little mistake is the mistakes that Zach cannot make, but that is a mistake that unfortunately he has made, and that in turn is allowing Rusty Wallace to catch him. As they head down the front straightaway, coming to 11 laps to go here at Pocono. The gap now between Rusty and Zach, closer than ever. If Rusty continues to close on Zach, he might be less than a second behind him. Rusty's actually closing the gap down, coming off of turn number 1, and so is DJ. Zach's got to nail turn 2 and not make the same mistake he did 1 lap ago. Zach kind of made a little bit of a mistake, but he didn't go as high as he did the lap prior, so it's a little bit better, but he's got to make sure he can't do it again. He can't continue to keep doing it again because Rusty's just closing the gap on him. Zachary actually missed the bottom a little bit, but his tires might actually be going on him, or he might be pushing it a little too hard. 10 laps to go. The gap is now pretty much under a second between Zachary and Rusty Wallace. Rusty running a little higher in 1. He might get a better run off the corner. I think Rusty actually did get a better run off the corner. He did. He's actually closer to Zach this time. In turn, he's getting away from Dale Jarrett, but he got closer to Zach. But as they enter turn 2, will Zach make the same mistake he's made the past 2 laps? He does. He goes high into turn 2 again. And Rusty closes up on him. But Zachary blocks him down the back, or back down off of turn 2 and into turn 3. He holds the lead going into turn 3. Rusty may not be happy with that. But Zachary did hold on to the position. Oh, he catches the wall a little bit, as a matter of fact. Rusty gets even closer. Zach's blocking him down the front straightaway. Here comes Dale Jarrett in the 88. Rusty's now on the inside of Zach, and Zachary cuts down in front of him. A 2-car battle's now turned into a 3-car battle. Rusty's gonna go a little bit high. Zach's getting tight, and the wall they both go. Zach and Rusty both into the wall. Dale Jarrett, as a matter of fact, hit Rusty, and that's gonna allow Zach to drive away a little bit, but Rusty's car is damaged. And it's not just Rusty's. The leader, Zach's car, is damaged as well. But DJ's is not. Zach is holding the lead, but Dale Jarrett is going to pass Rusty. First and second go into the wall and off turn number 1. And that has essentially ruined Rusty's race. But if Zach continues to do the same thing to Dale Jarrett, Rusty might not be out of it. But here comes Jarrett. He's got a faster car. Zach kind of got a little bit wiggly. Maybe trying to get away from that wall a little bit. With 8 laps to go, he's going to try to defend Dale Jarrett with a damaged race car. Zachary is complaining over the radio that Rusty probably should have backed out of it. Zach kind of dig it. As Zach was kind of going up the racetrack, maybe Zach was trying to turn down. And Rusty was just going to try to go for it. He saw a gap and he saw it, and he was going to take it. The team just telling Zach, keep your head straight, keep your head down, and keep her going. Zach's still blocking Dale Jarrett. Zach goes right to the bottom. Jarrett forced to the outside. Take it off of his racing line. But as they come off of turn 3, Dale Jr. is going to join the frame here in a little bit. As we now have 7 laps to go here at Pocono. Dale Jarrett looking to the bottom. Zachary blocking. Zach's going to stay to the inside. Jarrett's going to go right to the outside. He keeps it close to Zach. Dale Jarrett actually... Oh, they almost touch again. Can Dale Jarrett get the run on the outside? He can. Zachary didn't get tight enough to almost put Jarrett into the wall, which was good. But Dale Jarrett is back out front of Pocono. He faked Zachary out going into turn 1. And DJ in the UPS Ford is out front of Pocono. What a move by Dale Jarrett to get the lead back. As now he's just going to pull away from Zach. As Jarrett has fresher tires and a fresher car, is going to be able to drive away from second and third, and Rusty Wallace and Zachary Smithley, as we now have 6 laps to go at Pocono. And look at the gap that Dale Jarrett's already put on second place. It is a pretty meaty gap. But with Zachary's damaged race car, he could definitely put more time on him. This goes up to turn 1. As a matter of fact, he's already done that. See, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car, he's also got he's got fresher tires and a fresher car. He's going to try to go after Rusty in the 2. Rusty is not happy with Zach and the move that he made coming off of turn 1. But it seems like Zachary is going to might stand his ground on what he thinks Rusty should have done. As Dale Jarrett, as he comes down the back, kind of the back straightaway. The back stretch is mainly from turn 1 to turn 2. But Dale Jr., as a matter of fact, actually passed Rusty for 3rd. So Junior, he might actually try to go after Dale Jarrett, but he's gonna try to pass Zach, and Zach's gonna try to keep every position that he can. He's gonna try to maybe finish in 2nd because Zach knows being the point leader is not gonna be easy. He's gonna have to try to get as many points as he can. So if he's gonna block Dale Jr., he might block Dale Jr. And Rusty is definitely not happy with what Zach did. There might be a little bit of a post-race scuffle, not tuffle, scuffle. I can't do a tuffle, but a scuffle between Zachary and Rusty. Let's hope it doesn't come to that. As now Dale Jr. is going to try to go after Zach. Zach's going to try to maybe hold off Dale Jr., but he knows his tires are gone. Or rather, they are going. They're not fully gone. His tires are going away. The right side of his car is damaged, mainly the right front of his car. So that right front fender is bent in. And that is not good for Zach, but he's going to try to hold it on Dale Jr. So we have 4 to go. Zach's going to block Dale Jr. Oh, he's going back right at the track. Jr.'s going to try to go back down low. Zach may have blocked the run just enough. It seems like Zach's going to learn because Dale Jr. was trying to pull what Dale Jarrett did to Zach when he took the lead. I think Zachary may have thought Jr. was trying to do the exact same thing, and Zach was going to attempt it again. As with Zach blocking Dale Jr. and Rusty Wallace, Robbie Gordon, Jeff Green, and Jeff Gordon are actually joining the frame. And if this continues on, Larry Foyt back there might even join the fight. It was essentially a 6-car battle for 2nd place. It was almost an 8-car battle for the lead. Oh, Zach blocks Dale Jr. once again. Jr. stakes it to the bottom. Oh, my Lord. Zach arced it in, and Junior shot to the outside. He didn't lose too much time, though. That'll give Zach some breathing room with 3 to come to 3 to go for him. Dale Jarrett, he's way far out. Dale Jarrett doesn't have to deal with any of this. Look at these 6 cars. Look at how bunched up they are from 2nd all the way to 7th. Junior runs a higher line in turn 1. Zach trying to maybe went up the track a little bit sooner to block that run. So they head down the back straightaway. Zachary blocking Junior, blocks him again up to the outside. Junior goes to the bottom, but Zachary's gonna leave it open. Oh my God! Into turn 2, Zachary arcs it in, but he gets tight in the center. Holds it. Junior gonna look for another move. Is Zachary gonna block for a second? It looks like he will. He'll go right back to the outside. Junior kind of almost hits the back of Zach. These drivers behind Zachary are definitely probably not happy with what Zach's pulling here, but like we said before, Zach probably knows what he needs to do to continue maintaining that championship lead that he's got, as he's now blocking Dale Jr. not once but twice. As they enter turn 1 hole. Junior, you saw Junior's car jitter as they were going into turn 1. Junior had to really get on the brakes as Zachary almost turned himself, but in turn, Zachary keeps the spot. Holy cow, Zachary's giving us all heart attacks even more. I'm pretty sure about 10, 20 different people have had heart attacks so far in the stands because Zachary's almost wrecking. And it's not just Zachary wrecking, but he's almost wrecking Dale Jr., the most popular driver. That would definitely not sit well with fans. I don't think in block is going to sit well with fans, but... Hey, Zach. Give us all a break. As we look to Dale Jarrett, he's coming off turn 3. As a matter of fact, he's coming to the white flag one more time at Pocono for Dale Jarrett in the 88. He's now 6 seconds ahead of Zachary Smithley, who is still blocking Dale Earnhardt Jr. back there for second place. But Dale Jarrett doesn't have to worry about any of that. Dale Jarrett came into this race having probably one of the worst first portions of the season before entering the summer races. Dale Jarrett has had some good finishes. He's had some top 10 finishes and a couple top 5s, but not much. But today he came in with a fresh set of... Today he came in with a different mindset. He put the car on pole yesterday, and he's driven such a great race. And even though we thought he was going to have a battle with Rusty, and even towards the end with Rusty and Zach, a mistake between Zach putting him and Rusty into the wall allowed Dale Jarrett to capitalize. And because of that, Jarrett rounds turn 3. And down the straightaway, Dale Jarrett will win the Biff 500 at Pocono and becomes the 9th different winner of the 2003 season. Zachary back there holds on to second ahead of Dale Earnhardt Jr. in third. Well, what a win for DJ and the entire Robert Yates racing team. First win of the 2003 season goes to Dale Jarrett in the UPS Ford. You can safely say that Dale Jarrett has been waiting for this one for a while. And even though Dale Jarrett gets an amazing win, it's once again heartbreak for Rusty Wallace as he came so close to getting another win. But a late race battle with Zachary Smithley is what unfortunately took him out of contention for the win. But what a race. What a race and what a finish as we take a look at the finishing results after today's race. So Dale Jarrett wins it with Zachary Smithley, finishing in second. Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishing in third. Robbie Gorman, his best finish of the season, and with DEI in fourth. Jeff Green in fifth. Jeff Gordon in sixth. Rusty Wallace falls down to seventh. Larry Foyt's in eighth. Terry Labonte's in ninth. And Ryan Newman gets another top 10 finish after getting a good run last time out at Dover, but really wasn't able to show for it back at Charlotte. But he was able to do it today. And then we have Mark Martin in 11th, Ken Schrader 12th, Jason Keller in 13th, Jay McMurray 14th, Kyle Petty 15th, Kurt Busch in 16th, Mike Skinner 17th, Jimmy Johnson 18th, Bill Elliott 19th, and Bobby Labonte finishes in 20th. And then we'll have the 21st through 30th drivers, starting with Sterling Marlin in 21st, Jerry Nadeau in 22nd, Tom Bodine in 23rd, Ricky Craven in 24th, Ricky Rudd, who's going to lose a lot of points after today, finishing in 25th, Johnny Benson 26th, Jeff Byrne, who's also going to lose a huge amount of points, finishes 27th, Tony Raines in 28th, same goes with Kevin Harvick at 29th, and Casey Mears in 30th. Quite a bit of drivers that are doing well in the point standings. You're going to lose some valuable points, and even down here too, with Elliott Sadler in 31st, Kenny Wallace 32nd, Trey Nemechek 33rd, Matt Kenseth 34th, Dave Blaney in 35th, Steve Park in 36th, Greg Biffle in 37th, Ward Burton in 38th, Jimmy Spencer 39th, and Tony Stewart, after a top 10 run at Dover last time out, finishes in 40th. Then we have the last three drivers of John Andretti in 41st, Michael Waltrip, who hasn't had the greatest last three races now with another 42nd place finish, and Jerry Mayfield in 43rd last place. Not a good run for that number 19 car and the second entry for Everham Motorsports, but maybe as the season progresses, it'll get better for them. Who knows? But that is it for today's race. And the next race is going to be the Sirius XM 400, or probably just a Sirius 400. Yep, that's just what it is, a Sirius 400 at the Michigan International Raceway, which will be the second summer race of the season. And we're closing in on the halfway point. We are closing on the halfway point of the season. So that race should be interesting. And also, let's go on ahead and take a look at the updated point standings coming out of today's race. So Zachary Smithley is still the points leader. However, he is the first driver to reach 2,000 plus points this season. He's also the first rookie to do so. You got Jeff Gordon in second now, with Ryan Newman still in third. Ricky Rudd falls down to fourth. Jimmy Johnson is now fifth, with Jeff Green in sixth. Matt Kenseth's down in seventh. Bill Elliott's in eighth. Kurt Busch is in ninth. And then Jeff Burton is still into the top 10, even with a top 30 finish, but ain't too bad for Jeff. They got Dale Earnhardt Jr. 11th, Kevin Harvick at 12th, Bobby Labonte in 13th, Michael Waltrip 14th, Jay McMurray in 15th, Dale Jarrett, the race winner today, in 16th, Tony Stewart in 17th, Sterling Marlin in 18th, Tony Raines in 19th, and Rusty Wallace now in 20th. They got Jeremy Mayfield in 21st, Elliott Sadler in 22nd. It was Sterling Marlin in 18th and Mark Martin in 23rd. Sorry, my bad. I got both confused. So, Mark Martin actually is in 23rd, with Kyle Petty in 24th, Greg Biffle 25th, Johnny Benson in 26th, John Andretti in 27th, Terry Labonte 28th, Kenny Wallace in 29th, and then Dave Blaney is in 30th. And Steve Park is in 31st, Jerry Nadeau's in 32nd, Joe Nemechek is in 33rd, Ricky Craven in 34th, and Casey Mears is in 35th, and he is inside the top 35, and he is not a part of the Go or Go Homers, which is very, very good for him. And then we have the drivers outside the top 35. We'll start with Robbie Gorin, who's up to 36 now. But if he continues this run in the next few races, he can get inside that top 35, no problem. But the DEI number 1, 28th in owners, so he'll be fine. But still, though, just got to keep that in mind for a little bit. And you got Todd Bodine in 37th, Ward Byrne in 38th, Ken Schrader in 39th, Larry Foyt in 40th, Jimmy Spencer 41st, Mike Skinner in 42nd. Got Jack Sprague 43rd. Jason Keller's up to 44th, now ahead of Atwood in 45th. Mike Wallace in 46th. Christian Fittipaldi 47th. Kerry Earnhardt 48th. Herman Seller 49th. Buckshot Jones in 50th. Derek Cope in 51st. Scott Pruitt in 52nd. Kirk Shermody in 53rd. Brett Bodine 54th. And Morgan Shepherd in 49th. So that is how the point standings are looking like coming out of today's race. So, a lot of change everywhere else throughout the field. More history continuing to be made. Zachary is apparently all about making history, and I mean, can't really blame him because he has said that he's here to pretty much make history now after having a string of some good solid races, and you can't blame him for having that mindset. So it's always a good mindset to have. So that'll probably be his mindset towards the end of the season, and we're all here for it. If he wants to make more history, you can definitely go and do that. But thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy, leave a like, subscribe, hit the notification bell down below for some more. This was a special race. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully the healing process can be started after these back-to-back races here at Pocono. Not only just the in-car version, but the play-by-play version. So let's stick through this and we'll get through it together. But thank you guys so much. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, everyone. Love y'all oh so very much. And for the final time, I don't know how many more times I'm going to mention it, or rather that I'm going to say it, but God bless Greg Biffle. God bless to Christina, Ryder, the Duttons, and Craig Wadsworth. Dennis and Jack Dutton. I figured it out. God bless all of you. And let's hope that this healing process can get started. And let's all band together. Be there for one another. Continue to heal. It's going to be a little bit, but we will all get through this. We're all strong as fuck. Because Greg Biffle was. And that's how I'll end it. Thank you guys so much. I'll see you all later. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. Love you all so very much. Take care of one another. Stay safe out there. Merry Christmas to all of you, because I don't think I'm going to have a video out before Christmas other than this one. So, Merry Christmas to all of you. Thank you all so much. And since this video is actually going to be out on the 23rd, and it's you probably all know what the 23rd is, but happy heavenly birthday to Greg Biffle. We miss you. We love you. Thank you for the memories. Thank you for the fun times. We will all do you proud. That's what we're doing right now. And let's continue to make Greg Biffle proud, shall we? Thank you all so much. I love you all so very much. Happy heavenly birthday, Biffle. See you all in the next one. I love y'all, and goodbye.